Have you ever noticed when someone's not respecting you, how it can really just feel like they're kicking you in the gut or hitting you over the head or even just beating you down, and pulling away, just zapping all of your energy, sucking it away from you. And you just keep giving and giving and giving, but seeing no results in the relationship, not seeing them see you and act like they care about you and how you feel. What can you do about this? Well, today I want to help you to take that heavy weight off of yourself and give you 3 steps that you can take to be able to stand up for yourself when you feel like someone else is not respecting you. If you don't know me, let me introduce myself. My name is Tawnya Kordenbrock, and I am the person behind arenewedlife.com. I am a licensed professional clinical counselor and an online emotions coach, where I help women to learn to rewire their brains, to break free from fear, anger, low self-image, to be able to love themselves, feel loved by others, and to have a deeper relationship with God. Now, before we get into this teaching, be sure to subscribe so you can get some more, but also check out the previous teaching I did and helping you to overcome your fear of speaking your mind, because that is going to be so essential to overcome that fear before you can learn to actually speak up, stand up for yourself. Now, the first step you need to take in learning how to stand up for yourself is to understand what your responsibilities are. And I like how Cloud and Townsend describe this in their book on boundaries. And I'll put a link to that below. But that they say you have a responsibility to others, but not a responsibility for others. What does that mean? Well, you have a responsibility to them to care, to love them, and to be concerned about them. But you don't have a responsibility for them. You don't have a responsibility for the choices that they make, and especially for the outcomes of those choices. You also don't have a responsibility for what they believe about themselves, or their actions, their emotions even. You're not responsible for how they feel. And you can care about someone without being responsible for them. Your second step in being able to stand up for yourself is to express how you feel, how you've been hurt. Now, when you've been hurt, a lot of times the first emotion that that comes up and you feel more comfortable with is anger. And anger gets expressed, and so you attack the other person and you say how immature they're being, how selfish they're being, how uncaring they are, and point out to, for instance, you might point out to your husband how he doesn't take up for you, or how he defends others but doesn't defend you, or how he needs to get emotional healing from all of his childhood issues, or whatever. He needs to take care of his addictions, his viewpoints, and all of that. So when you do that, when you're coming out with that anger, or if you're coming out and focusing on the other person, even if it doesn't appear to have a lot of anger behind it, they are not going to hear you. Okay, they're just going to become defensive, and that's not what you want. The goal in expressing how you feel and expressing your hurts is to not cut them down, or even to fix them. It is to repair the relationship and to help the other person to be able to come close to you so that they can hear you, so that they can see you, and they can, that love that they have for you, that concern that they have for you can come up, and they can feel that when they see your hurt. So as you're communicating, you want to communicate those deeper feelings, not just the anger. And that's how one reason why you do need to, like I said in my previous teaching, you have to become conscious of what those deeper feelings are, the emotions that you're feeling. For instance, recently, I had a family member said something that kind of hurt my feelings, and truthfully, it touched on an old wound from my mom, and she didn't know this. She didn't know, she was totally oblivious that this had hurt me at all. This was offensive. So when I recently talked to her, I said, I need to talk to you about something. You recently said something and it hurt me. And I made it clear, I know you care. You probably didn't realize that this was hurtful, but here's what this did. Here's what this touched on within me. Here are the thoughts that kind of arose within me when I heard you say that. And truthfully, her first response was a little bit of defensiveness, but we're in a good place, and so she was able just to tamp that down and to be able to breathe and to be able to hear me. So when your relationship's not in a good place, this is harder to do, takes more practice. But she was able to hear me, and then she was just like, oh my goodness, I had no idea. Which, yeah, I didn't think she did. At first I did. At first I couldn't believe, like, wow, why are you putting that on me? Why are you saying that? But then as I explained it to her, then yes, she was able to hear me. She was able to see. I know she cares, and that as I expressed my hurt, it touched on that place within her where no, she didn't want to hurt me. And so then we were able to repair that in our relationship. That is what you want to be able to do. But when you come out with, if I would have said to her, here are the right words, the way that you need to say this. Here is what was going on with you. You believe this about me, and you have your own issues. Can you imagine what she would have done? Yeah, I'm sure you can. She would have totally shut down, or she would have attacked me back, like, how dare you? And that would have gotten us nowhere. But as it was, it turned out good. Then your third step in being able to stand up for yourself is to express care to the other person, but also to set guidelines with action. Let me unpack that for you, because there's actually a lot there. Now, when you first, depending on the other person, sometimes people, when they hear you saying no to them or saying you don't like what they've said or what they are trying to get you to do, or, you don't want to do that, then they can take it as you don't care about them. But you can care for how they feel. You can care for their struggle, while at the same time standing up for yourself and what you are able to do and what you are willing to do. So, but you might have to explain that to them. You might have to explain, for instance, if your husband is wanting to have sex more frequently than you are comfortable with, or that you're not feeling respected in the relationship, and he's wanting to be intimate. And so you could say, you know what, I care about you, that how you're feeling, that you want to be connected with me, you want to be intimate, you're feeling sexual desire, and I understand that, I respect that, I care about that. But at the same time, I need you to see me. I need you to understand what's going on with me and how hurt I am feeling, and that you're not, that I'm not feeling seen. I'm not feeling heard by you. And again, it depends on your relationship, how well that's going to come across. Now, if the other person may get defensive, or they may become manipulative, try to turn it back on you, that, those accusing statements that you are being selfish, that you don't care. And, what's that going to do? Of course, that is going to deepen that feeling within you that, yeah, they don't see you. They don't care about you. So when that happens, two things that I recommend to the women that I work with that they do. One is to try to, what I call, come in the side door or the back door when you're going to approach someone who becomes defensive. And to say to them, I have something that I want to talk to you about, but I'm afraid what's going to happen is that's going to touch on something within you. And you're going to become defensive. So, and, knowing that, being fearful that you're going to become defensive, that makes me kind of leery of sharing my heart with you. And so when you can do that, then a lot of times what will happen is the other person, if they truly do care for you, then they will say, okay, they will try to hold themselves in check so that they don't become defensive. You can even ask, can I tell you this and you hold on to your defensiveness and enough that you can hear me, what I'm saying. So that's what I call coming in the back door. Now, if that doesn't work, and especially if the person has an addiction, then they're going to work very hard to cover that up, and they will most definitely come back at you with attacking you, that something is wrong with you, that you are being selfish, that you are only caring for yourself, that you are pessimistic, or whatever. You know how all of those lines go, right? But so when someone is in that place, then you need to take some action. And that's when you can say, I care for you, that you are struggling right now, that this doesn't work out well for you, that I don't want to do this thing for you, or help you with this, but this is what I can do right now. And if, I'm willing to talk about how you feel, but if you are going to accuse me, or of these things, if you are going to call me names, if you're going to get loud, if you're going to get violent, then I'm not going to participate. I am not going to stay present. And then you have to take some action. You have to hold up to that. You have to, do what you said you were going to do. You're going to leave the house. You're going to leave the room. You're going to put their phone number on Do Not Disturb. But make it clear, here's what my boundaries are going to be. I'm not going to speak to you until you have calmed down and you can actually listen to what it is that I am feeling, and we can have a real conversation here. Now, again, depending on your relationship, this is sometimes easier and sometimes harder. But you have to do that. And these are the steps that you have to take in order to be able to stand up for yourself. I do have a free resource for you to help it make it a little more clear of what healthy boundaries are. And I will put a link to that below, and you can check that out for yourself. It'll give you ideas of things that you can say or do to keep healthy boundaries. Give me a thumbs up, please, and let me know if you have found this helpful, and also let me know if you have any questions. Bye now.